Like, is this thing on? Yeah, I think it is. Can you see me? Hello, welcome back to the Only Lauren channel. Why Only Lauren? Cause I'm cray cray. So today's topic is etymology, and I'm actually thinking about making this a series because I've been looking into this for like a little minute, and I've always sort of noticed like some meanings in the words, and I wouldn't say meanings, but I've always noticed like if there's something like off with the words, then your girl has noticed it. And also want to say, watch my previous videos. Also have something, that's how I came up with the idea of the archangels. And sorry I haven't been editing the videos because the YouTube editor is like weird or something, and I don't know how to use it. My computer doesn't have editing capabilities. That's not your problem. Let's get into this. I guess the way the topic is, you know, how to properly study etymology, and so I'm just gonna go into some tips on how I study the etymology as far as getting the meanings of words. So what etymology is etymology is the history of words, how they are formed and how their meanings begin to form. So like the words we have now were not the original words there were before. Like for instance, the word car comes from the word chariot because it's carrying you. So a chariot, carry, you feel me? So that's basically what it is. So how I study it, I basically, like, the first thing I like to do is I like to go into like the prefix. Now the prefixes are either really easy or really hard. So even when the part is just like chopped into one, if it has like two words behind the word, it typically still has like a meaning. So like that's a whole different other topic, but just to be clear, make sure you have your prefixes on point. So for instance, by and die are not the same. So by means two, die just means to split. So you have to make sure that you're understanding the two. It doesn't mean die is not necessarily the same as by. So have your prefixes in order. And even the word prefixed, so it's prefix. Well, I think is really interesting. They should call that the prefix paradox. So it's already fixed in the pre already. I leave the suffix for interpretation. That's basically the next part I look into, is I look at the suffix. The suffix is just basically telling you what it is doing. So if it's you're running, ing is the suffix, or you're walking, that is also the suffix. And they're basically just going to tell you what is happening with the word. So I think it's pretty simple. Most words, even if it's like ending with like an N or L, those still have meanings of the type of word it is. So, or the type of meaning it's conveying with the suffix. So just be looking out for that with when you're looking into etymology and etymology type things. And so like the third thing I like to do that I didn't name like the first one and two is I like to like look at the current nature of the word versus like the previous nature. So okay, so for instance, like the words magnetic, magic, and magnet. So I look at, okay, so there's the word mag in there. Okay, they don't know where I don't think they know where the word magic comes from. If there is magic, I haven't looked at it yet. Magma, we all know what magma is. It's the center of, it's the liquid, the plasma, not liquid, it's the plasma that comes out of the earth, the other state of matter. Magnetic, and magnetic actually means magic. So if you look at synonyms, you'll say if something's magnetic, it is magic. And I think the other word I had for that was magenta, that was in there. And I think the reason why I put magenta into there, because they don't know where the word magenta comes from. Let's start there, because when you go to look at the word magenta, they just say this city in Italy. And then when you go to look, like, so you're like, okay, magenta, the city in Italy. But the reason why I looked at that was because when I saw, because I like low-key pay attention to things, so just like words and things. So I looked in my great my great cart, and it said magenta on it, and I was like, well, why would it say magenta? Why magenta? And the reason why I looked into that is because of vine, right? So that's what I was thinking with the word divine. But that's another topic. That's another topic, and I'll get into that in another video. Another thing I like to look out for is the fourth thing. This would be the fourth thing, is letter switching. The most type of common letter switching is like that we just do in the English language is ELLE. This is something you can just look at, like how they do with, I can't think of any examples right now, but it's very common. I've always noticed that though, that letters can sometimes be switched around. They're like the, especially LE and EL. So that's what my current video was when I was talking about angels. I wasn't just speaking out like blowing shit out my ass, just kidding. I wasn't just blowing because there's quite often like we have letter switching in the English language. And another example would be like porn. The word porn comes from the word fornication. So P and F typically are switched out for each other. Those are another set of words that are switched out and the meaning gets changed over. So how do I know that? I actually know it from church. Yeah, that's funny. But your LE and your PF words are gonna be like your strongest, so be looking out for that. If you see a word with an F or with a P, switch those hoes out and then you'll get like the real meaning. I also go by how it sounds. So what is this, my fifth point? This is my fifth point. 5, look at that. So like for example, I have the word epic and epoch, which I used to pronounce it epoch. I didn't know it was epic. And then I said epoch to like my mom, and she was like, the word is epic. And I was like, well, it's in the Bible as epoch. Is this epoch? Is epoch the name of somebody else? Isn't that? Oh no, that's Enoch. So what's the difference? An epic is supposed to be a chronicalization of dated periods. I don't know. I'm just trying to help myself right now. Don't think they go together. Those are just, and then don't, that's another thing. Don't try to make like an unrelated word go together that's not. So you can't say Enoch to epoch, like what I just did right there. Those are not known to go together. So if you have strong previous research in that backing where you see consistent, first of all, take notes of those, and if they're consistently coming out to that way, then you can say, okay, well, since there is no mathematics behind how I'm gonna do this, as far as doing this is like just chronicleize everything. And that's pretty much it. Don't be making no jumps. Just added that in the mix. A 7th thing I like to do is I like to be looking out for mixed matching words. So like if words have multiple meanings, you kind of gotta go like, why does that word have multiple meaning? Like if you're saying like a spell means a curse or magic, right? So and by the way, the word spell also means glamour, or the word glamour means like spell binding. So spell also means to sort words in an order in which they convey their meaning, right? So we take letters and we spell them out. So I mean, you gotta kind of like, why did they call it that? So this is not like this, you know, the bullet point of the bullet point of the 5th point that was saying, gosh, like I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, those are not like those are not jumping to conclusions. Those are like simply like, why did they? You just have to like sit and think like, well, why did they use that word for that typical word? And I think this is actually my last point. Cause like another example I have for that is why did they use like the mixing matching words? Why did they use, so I have the word parabola, right? And then I have the word parable, and they're obviously the same word. There's no doubt about it. There's no thinking about it. There's no acting in another way where it's not the same word. Like that's just what it is. So you have to say like to yourself like, oh, well, why did they use that word for that? What is a parabola? You know what a parabola is. That's a parabola. Okay. Do I need to write it down? Do I need to? Y'all know what a parabola is, right? Yeah, X and your Y. Yeah, Y and your X. And this is your parabola. But no, wait. Sorry. I already knew it didn't write when I was writing it, but I still continued to write it. I hope you guys can see this, because this, I hope. Oh, shit. My markers are dry. How is it even possible when I didn't even, like, the caps are on them? So, I am not good with drawing lines. I hope you can see that. Here's your Y. And I hope y'all remember this from, like, elementary school. And this is a parabola, más o menos. And I think I like to use the equation for a parabola for some cool stuff. I forgot what it was, but I do need to go write those down. Like I need to go write down like my geometric equation forms for that stuff so I can like have it on memory. But yeah, that's a parabola. And a parable is a short moral story that conveys a type of, I don't know where that last part stopped off at, but I ran out of time on this. Doesn't want me to go like over 10 minutes, I think. So yes, sorry, got flashed. But yeah, parable. So you just have to look at that. And then even like the word analogy, there are similar words in the English language. You have like analogous, you have the word analog. Why use something that is similar to analogy to analog? Analogy is something similar to another something. So what does analog have to do with an analogy? And I even have like the words like, I have the words like virtue and virtual reality. Like what does that have to do with anything to another? So just be looking out for those in my next video. I have another word like universe, and if you take the word uni, that obviously means one, and then you take the word verse, well that means like, you know, a set of lines of poetry. So just a verse means poetry in itself. So yeah, so you just have to look for those mixed matching words that is kind of like, those don't go together, but they do go together because that's what they mean. Like, for instance, like now, sorry, for instance, like now when we say like drip, okay, that's like the most simple example. We say drippage, we mean like jewelry, okay? So that's basically like the same thing. Like, we mean drippage of jewelry, but there's other meaning behind it. Unless the set of people are there to tell you, you're not going to know what that meaning is. So there are things lost in that meaning, and it is what it is. Like, you could be dumb about it, you could be smart about it, like, it's what it is. So like and subscribe. I don't know, like, I think the YouTube format is to tell you to like and subscribe at the beginning of the video. So, and then share it as well, because